Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Digital Collective. I'm your host, James Hicks from Hicks New Media. And on this show, we focus on the people, the platforms, and the tools that are making positive strides within the technology sector today. My guest today, Lord have mercy, hold up, wait a minute. Uh, this man, I couldn't read through the long bio, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let him go
Yeah,
ahead and
don't.
do his thing. But let me just say this: National Black Radio Hall of Fame inductee. One, Living
Mm,
Legends Foundation inductee. Two,
mm.
Icon Award winner. Club president at the Toastmasters. He's supposed to be at the Toastmasters right now, but he's hanging out with us. But you know what? We appreciate him for that. Certified NLP coach. This man is somebody. If you go Google him, you're going to find a winner. So I'm blessed. I'm honored to have this gentleman here on the show with us. We're going to talk technology. I'm going to pick his brain about what he's using behind the scenes to create a lot of the micro content that he does on his various channels. He's also an entrepreneur. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Y'all ready? Let's get into it. Listen, I didn't know where to start. Because the line and the list is long. Shouts out, ladies and gentlemen, Hurricane Dave Smith himself. How you doing, brother? Let me salute you.
Man,
No, let me salute
no.
you.
Let me let me salute you. I've always been a big fan of yours, and I've watched many of your shows. And I thought, wow, how cool would it be to be on that show? Because you reach so many different people, and then all of a sudden, I got an invite. And I was like, oh my goodness, the man upstairs is always listening,
There it
just like
is.
these devices that we have, always listening to us. So somehow you got the signal and I got the invite, and I was very pleased, my brother. I'm
Listen,
excited to be here, James. Thank you.
I love it. Listen, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. We are streaming all sorts of places today. I love the conscious effort as well that you put out in terms of reaching out to your community. So I know that we're out there on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all the things. But for my
Yes.
community who may not have gotten the gist of who Dave Smith is, who Hurricane Dave Smith is, if you could just give
Mhm.
kind of that 35,000 foot uh, monologue, if you don't mind, of who,
Sure.
what, where, and why it is that you do, sir.
Well, I'm a tech nerd. I really am. I love technology. I've always loved technology. I've been taking things apart ever since I was a child and trying to re-put them back together. So I've always had a fascination for technology, and that's just in my bloodstream. My career from a business standpoint is I've spent about 39 to 41, maybe 40 something years in the radio broadcasting business. I've had the opportunity to program in some great markets, including right here in Atlanta, Georgia. I programmed in Cincinnati, Cleveland. I've programmed just outside of Dallas. I've just been all over the place. The name Hurricane Dave actually started when I was in Houston, Texas. So the radio business has been like my first marriage, and it will always be my first marriage, even if I have like a wife or a second or a third wife. I'm always going to be somewhat married to the radio game and to the entertainment game. But I've been blessed to have won numerous awards and won in various markets all across the country. So, it's just a blessing. I love meeting people. As you
Love it.
probably can tell, I have a little bit of the gift of the gab.
You got a little
Uh,
bit of it. Listen,
a little
you
bit of that, a
familiar with
little
the
bit.
microphone. You familiar
Oh
with the
yeah,
mic.
yeah, oh yeah.
let
Microphone fiend,
That's it.
absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely.
watch out now. Let me
Yeah.
let me. I got my triggers here though. We can do a little something as
Okay.
well. You know, one of the initial reasons for us getting together was, I don't know if you posted it or we kind of wrapped around this conversation about AI, right? This
Yes,
conversation
yes.
about when that Drake song came out, or which was not a
Mhm.
Drake song, the
No, it was not a Drake
AI
song.
rendered Drake song, and wondering did that violate intellectual property? Let's start there, kind of from a technology perspective, and then we can dive into kind of your stack of what you're using to create your content. But again, coming from the radio industry, coming from the music industry, and now seeing where we are with technology and how of a proliferation that is, we've got these songs that are being made by a computer and an algorithm. It sounds very close to Drake, but it's not him.
Mhm.
What are your
No.
thoughts of that right there? Just that aspect.
Well, I'll be honest with you. The AI scenario is actually quite scary when I think about it. It has a lot of people in the industry scared as well. As a matter of
Mm.
fact, I think I can play something, a little bit of that post that I did, and you can tell me if you can hear the audio. You can just shake your head. We're gonna see what happens. You ready?
It's all good.
Let's do it. Let's do it. AI, you are tripping. What's up? It's Hurricane Dave. Listen, you know that I happen to love artificial intelligence. I love AI. I love Chat GPT. I've been talking about that since last year. But what's happening right now in the recording industry has a lot of people very, very worried. I mean, check this track out right now.
I came in with my ex, like Celine, or the flex, bumping Justin Bieber, the fever, and left. She know what she need, or she blessed.
That, my friend, is not the new Drake. That's not the new Drake. And it's got Drake and other people in the industry upset. That is artificial intelligence made to sound like Drake and The Weeknd. I will say they did a much better job on the Drake than they did on The Weeknd. But again, these are very scary times when your favorite artist can be duplicated through AI.
Hey there, Delilah, what's it like in New York City?
All right, so I won't play the whole thing because
It don't matter because it's not real, so I'm not gonna get a copyright strike. So
No.
right.
Actually, since I was on my social media, I never got a copyright snag on it. But I did think about that when I was putting my pieces together of things that we may talk about. I was like, I don't want him to get no strike anywhere. But I'm only going to put things on this channel that have already been cleared. I
Love
wouldn't
it.
do you that way.
I
Wouldn't do you
appreciate
that
you.
way, bro.
I appreciate you on that. Right. So again, you
Well,
had it already queued up, and again, I didn't even realize that you were going to have that actual audio piece. But let's talk about that. This is
yeah.
where we are, and we just within the weeks that we've been prepping for this session, the federal government has kind of started talking about legislation to maybe pump the brakes on
Yes.
artificial intelligence and kind of think about the long-term effects of this technology. Let's go into it, man.
Yeah, I think that there has to be some sort of regulation on it because, again, that's intellectual property. When
Mm.
you can make a sound that sounds just like that artist, the artist and the record labels should be upset. And so, thank God that those guys are taking a look at it. The one thing about all this technology that is so crazy is that it's happening so fast. It's
Yeah.
happening so quickly that you know how our government works. We are not a fast action type government. That's just not how we get down. Usually we find out about stuff. I mean, of course, the intelligence system that we have nationally is very, very good. But on social media type things like this, a lot of times we're behind the eight ball. But these artists and these writers, that strike that's taking place out west right now with the writers, it's because of AI.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think there's a lot to be concerned. As much as I love AI, and I'm definitely 100% an AI type person, it could be very, very dangerous, because there are farms now. There are media farms that have been around for a long time, legit ones. And now these AI media farms are cropping up and they're putting out false information. I mean, they're doing these news stories that have the anchor's voice reading information that was typed in by some weirdo, and it sounds like my man's that I
Yeah.
watch on TV. So I think that it's something, James, that we should be very concerned about from a media standpoint and
Yeah.
a technology and society standpoint. Absolutely.
So, I mean, we're both in the technology field, and we've known that this has been around for a while, but it's now bubbled up to the consumer level, right? So now
Yeah.
it's on the ABCs and the CNBCs of the world. So folks are now seeing on their nightly news. So now there's all this conversation and concern about it. Uh, I agree that there are some significant pros, but I also agree that there are some significant possible needs to pump the brakes a little bit in terms of how much it is infiltrating what it is that we do on an everyday basis.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's funny when I was talking to one of my colleagues and they were like, this AI thing is like out of control.
mm,
And I said, well, AI has been around for a while. I mean, I use Grammarly as an
yeah,
example because, that's one of my weak
good
things and it's
platform.
been around for a while. But if you think about, Microsoft Word, or if you're an Apple fan like you and I, if you think about Pages, when we're typing something and it's auto correcting, it's been doing that for years. That's
That's
not new.
true. That's true.
That's artificial intelligence right there. So, but Chat GPT, it took the game and flipped it on its head. And so now people are all, some people are up in arms, some people are excited. But when you think about it, the technology has been around for many, many, many years.
Yeah. Now, Shirley, I see you joining in. Appreciate you for being here, my friend. So let me ask you this, Dave. Again, so coming from the entertainment world, right? And again,
Yes.
we've got this very poignant example that you played and you showed a second ago. Um,
Mhm.
how do we move forward, or is it even too soon about moving forward, right? Because again, we're already able to download this onto our Spotify and our Apple Musics, and we're
Mhm.
already able to
Mhm.
hear this on our gym playlist. I can actually take that song and put it in my playlist and listen to that now when it's no one's getting paid for it. Someone just created
Right.
it using an algorithm. But how concerned should not just the music artists be, but how concerned should the general public be when it comes to knowing what they're getting is probably not true, or is fake, or is crafted by a computer algorithm?
Well, the
Just in
question
general, I
is,
guess, just in general, right?
yeah, I think the question is, will the audience even care?
Wow,
You
come on
know,
now.
as long as they're getting fed, do they really care? And that's the
Interesting.
scary part. And that's why these writers, like I said earlier, are on strike. It was continuing the entertainment realm. The radio personalities that are actually on the air, the radio industry that I love, like I said, it's my first marriage, has gone through a lot since the pandemic. Lots of people losing their jobs. I don't want to say that people are leaving radio because everybody's been saying that for like 100 years. Radio still reaches 93% of every American one week. So it's not going away. But the question is, now they've got these chat GPT radio announcers.
Crazy,
And so
man.
where you might hear your normal announcer that you love on overnights, as an example, a lot of times they don't put anybody on overnights because of budget reasons. Well, now you can put chat GPT on overnight and it could sound like there's a personality talking about things going on in the city. But as we all know, once you get that door cracked, it's not closing.
It's hard.
So it's open
It's the
and it's going to
convenience
get
thing.
bigger.
Right.
Absolutely.
I think that's almost what, and I don't want to put words in your mouth. I wonder if that's what you alluded to
Mhm.
by saying, the consumer almost may not care because it's so convenient now to be able to do the autocorrect, to be able to
Mhm.
write a paragraph, write a story, right? You can just tell
Yeah,
ChatGPT, you've got a premise and you got uh, a thought, and it'll write the entire story for you. But
the
the
whole
fact that
thing.
it's so convenient, and let's be honest, the price is right.
Oh yeah.
Right now, you can get
Yeah,
most of this stuff for zero to very, very low
absolutely.
outlay from your wallet. So that's scary, though,
Yeah.
man. I guess I've never
Yeah,
heard it said like that. That the consumers may not care about it.
will the consumers care? Yeah. Again,
Mm,
as long as they're getting their appetite fed and satisfied and they're utilizing the products, I don't think they're going to be that bothered. But I will say this with radio, I
mm,
do know that Drew Carey actually did a mock show. And he had it all programmed. He had the script written, and it was a computerized version of him. And the next day, he told the audience about it, and the audience let him have it. They were not appreciative. They did not want to think about AI taking human jobs. So some people are concerned about. But again, that might be the what they call the P1 listener, the active listener, the listener who would actually pick up the telephone and make a request. They may be concerned about it, but that's a very small percentage. 85% of it might go over people's head, and they might not even really realize that it's AI, an AI computer rated generated voice. And in some markets, that might work. So, the cat's out of the bag. I mean, the train has left the station.
the
The
cat's out of the
horse is
bag.
out of the barn. It's going down that road, and it's not
Go
coming
ahead.
back. So the
Yeah.
question is, how we gonna tame that bad boy? That's the real question,
Right. All
and
right.
that's what's going to
So
be
let's
left
go
up
there.
to some
So
folks.
let's go
Yeah.
there. Right. Again. So being conscious consumers, and
Mm.
being not being lazy in terms of how we take advantage and utilize technology today. How do
Yes.
we be more cognizant and aware in terms of what we consume? As,
Yeah.
so I'm asking a whole bunch of different ways, right? So not just as digital creators from your perspective, how do we consume this? See, I'm not even looking at my notes. Forget my notes. Now
Uh-huh.
we going in. We going
Let's
as
go in, baby. Let's do it.
creators and as parents, like as we think of our youth now coming into this world, they're already internet kids, right? They already don't know a world without 6 seconds swipe left or right, but now they have the ability to craft all of this documentation, craft all of these projects, do all this stuff with an
Right.
algorithm writing it for us. How do we be cognizant and be conscious about how we entertain that?
I think we have to understand it. You know, a lot of times people are fearful of things they don't understand.
Wow, come
And
on now.
the best thing they can do is try to get in front of it and learn it. Especially like you said, the younger folks have a quicker adoption rate. As an OG, I'm one of the OGs, and I don't want to say you're an OG because I
Watch
don't
out!
know
No,
how old you
I
are.
didn't shave you. That
Okay,
I got the
hold on.
salt in the. I got the salt in the. See, there we go.
but
This is how we
but
talking
listen,
now.
we don't really adapt to things nearly as fast as kids. You
Mm,
know, we're used to putting a pen in the paper, you know,
yeah.
on some stuff. We're used to back in the day having a reel to reel where you had to, you know, use a splice tape if you're using
Go ahead,
production.
boy.
You know, these
Yeah.
kids, they don't know anything about that because it's all been digital. They don't know about the analog world. So if we're going to understand it as parents and OGs, then we need to dive into those books, because the last thing you want a kid
Mm,
to know is more about some technology than you know. You know, and it's funny because I see some people say, "Hey man, I'm trying to get this thing to work on my phone," and they give it to a kid and they can get the thing to work. Like what's the problem? You know, oh, I was just trying to be able to take a picture. So as parents, if we put our blinders on, James, it's a wrap for us,
yeah.
bro. It's a wrap.
Stay vigilant. Stay cognizant. Don't
Yeah.
let these young cats, outdo us. They don't know nothing about these Maxell gold metal tapes. They don't know about that.
No, they don't know nothing
What?
about that. They don't
They
know
don't know.
nothing.
They don't know nothing about
Max,
TDK. I
no, they
flash
don't know
back on that
about
one.
that. Oh, look at you. Look at you. You should have put
Lord,
that on the screen because there's some young
BASF.
kid out there saying, what are they talking about?
I
Yeah,
know
bass.
they
What are
don't
they
know about
talking
that.
about?
Man, they don't know. Okay,
Yeah.
so
But
we can go.
but the best thing we can do, bro, is try to learn the technology. I mean, you know, again, if we don't learn it, we're going to get left behind, because
Mm,
technology, the adoption rate, you know, it used to be like this short, you know, and then it's getting this short. The adoption rate is getting so fast. And before we know it, that stuff's going to be out there and they're going to be getting it in seconds. So the best thing we can do is research it and not be afraid of it, because it's here and it's here to stay.
that's true. I like that. Let me
Yes.
ask you this. On the positive side, from a technology perspective, you are multifaceted, right? Yeah, I could say
Mhm.
that you are, and I don't want to demean it, just a radio man. No, I mean you
No.
are entertainment. You are entrepreneur. You've got a lot of irons in the fire. Let's talk a little bit about how you're using technology in a positive perspective for some of the uh, brands that you're building, for some of the
Mhm.
companies that you're working with and that you're building, that kind of thing. So how you're using technology today to do what it is that Hurricane Dave represents.
Well, I'm working with a couple of different companies. I have a company called Branditlive, and Branditlive is a Black technology company, is what I like to call it. And we are working right now, believe it or not, the very latest thing is working and creating chatbots off of websites that are already been developed. You know, as an example, say there's a Dave's Furniture Store.com. Well, I'm working with some young guys that are so smart, bro, with this technology. We can take the information that's on your website and it will crawl your entire website and turn that into a chat widget that could be put on that website. Now, companies had been doing this for years, sometimes charging $4,000 and $5,000 to crawl a website. Say you're an attorney, you have a law firm, and you need a chat widget on your attorney site. Companies have been charging people 4 and 5 grand to do that because it takes time. Well, now with Chat GPT, all I have to do is punch in the URL of that website, and within 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, it'll read everything on there. Could be 400 pages on that website. It'll read it in 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and instantly create a chat bot that can be sold to that company.
Wow.
That is the technology that is happening right now.
Hmm.
And I'm so excited about that's going to be one of the things that I offer as one of the services. I mean, I have a SaaS company, and we are always interested in developing and working with these young folks because they get it. So that's going to put a lot of coders out because you don't have to have any coding skill. So
Yeah.
that's the very latest thing that I'm working on. But the whole chat GPT thing, I've been working with that since last year. The first thing that I actually put in there last year, because I think it came out in November of last year, if my memory is correct, is I actually, this is going to sound self-serving, but this is real life. I put in the information from my bio that had been on LinkedIn for some time, and I put the accolades, different things in there, and I said, enter.
Yeah.
And I thought about it, that the thing flashed for like 3 seconds.
Did it
Then it
clean you
started
up?
typing. I was like, oh my
Did
God,
it clean it
man,
up?
that thing cleaned me up. I got it, no front and no cap. When I got done reading what it said, I had to say, dang, who is that
Yeah,
guy?
that's a bad man,
You
isn't it?
know,
That's a bad
man,
man.
but I got to give it to Chat GPT, because it put things in words that there's no way that I've ever would have thought about saying that next to that or plugging that in. So the technology is there, and if it's used correctly, it could be done in an awesome way. So as I look at different jobs or I bid on different things, I take the information and I put that in Chat GPT and I hit the button and it spits out something whoever's reading is going to say, oh, this guy gets it.
Love it.
You know,
I
the
love it.
technology can be used in a lot of different ways. I'm not afraid of the technology. I think the technology is awesome. And also, imagine if you're doing some sort of science project, if you're a doctor, and sometimes things takes years and years and years to develop new Western medicines. Now they put that in there and it does the work of 30 people in about 10 or 15 seconds, and it never gets tired. It never needs to sleep.
Never needs
It
a
never
coffee
needs a
break.
day off. Never needs a coffee break. Doesn't need to go to their kid's game.
Man, don't get to replacing my job. Well, okay, we won't talk about that. No,
We don't want to do that. But
don't do
I'm
that.
telling you, it's amazing. The technology is amazing. And I'm totally, as you can hear probably from my enthusiasm, I'm fascinated by it all.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So are you teaching as well, teaching folks, or are you more curating and bringing in kind of the mind, just as out of curiosity, bringing in the minds that are
Sure.
already working in this and putting them to use and building platforms, applications
I'm
and
doing
projects, things like that? Or are you going out and
I'm
actually
doing,
teaching folks?
I'm not teaching.
Okay.
I'm definitely a consumer of the product, but I can speak about it with a good fair amount of knowledge. Because again, I've been messing with it since it came out. But I work with a lot of young people, developers in particular,
Gotcha.
who are way smarter than me. And I will ask them a question, well, can it do this? And they say, well, of course. Well, can you show me how that's done? And do you mind if I screen record? Because I screen record everything, because I don't want to go back to the young guy and be like, hey, remember when you showed me how to do X, Y, Z, and R?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you show me that again? So I use screen recording technology almost every time I'm on a Zoom. I'm recording those things. And now, as you know, there are programs that you can use using AI that will take notes of all the Zoom meetings. You can click a button and highlight a certain thing. And then you can go back later and say, hey, I was talking about XYZ-R. I type that in, XYZ-R, and it could be a 2-hour Zoom meeting. It'll go straight to it. So again, the technology is there to make us smarter. Although I will say I am a fan of saying that these smart devices have made us stupid. I am a fan of that.
Yeah. Listen,
because we
I'm
don't
in the
remember
same boat with
numbers.
you.
Yeah.
Don't
It's
ask me what
crazy.
your phone number is. You
Exactly.
are. I just have to scroll down and to the S's.
hmm
You're right
Yeah.
about that. Um,
Yeah.
all right, let's do this. Right, let's pivot slightly because we started talking about and kind of put the promos out, saying we were going to kind of go through some tech stacks of
Yes.
applications and platforms, products that we utilize. You've already mentioned a couple. You mentioned Zoom. You
Yes.
mentioned Grammarly. You mentioned something for screen recording. I'm not sure if that's Loom or not. I know you're also from
I
a
do.
broadcast studio perspective, you're also an Ecamm user, so you're coming in through
Yes.
Ecamm, so we got a shouts
Mhm.
out to them. But so let's talk about productivity platforms that you
Yes.
use as an entrepreneur and as a digital creator. What are your top 3, top 4 apps and platforms that you use?
Well, one of the biggest things that I'm a huge fan of is a program called DaVinci Resolve.
Mm-mm.
And DaVinci Resolve, to me, I'm an Apple fan, so I'm an Apple fanatic, but I have Final Cut Pro. I have the whole Adobe suite, so I've
Yeah.
been editing those things. And then a friend of mine, actually, I Googled something about editors, and DaVinci Resolve came up, and I was like, DaVinci Resolve, what is that? Let me see what it is.
How much
And
is it?
I fell in love with it. How much is it?
Tell people how
Free
much it is.
99. Free 99. That's what that is.
There it is
Free
right there.
99.
Man, it's
Yeah. And
crazy.
so I was like, well, if it's free, how good could it be? And how good could it be? And it turned out to be very, very good. Now they offer a studio version, which I think is $299.
Yes. Yeah.
I tried the free version, fell in love with it. The only difference between the or the paid version is you can output your stuff in like 4K
Yeah.
and 8K and all that stuff. And so I was like, you know what? The program is so good, I'm willing to pay it, even though I may not put something in 6K. So DaVinci Resolve is from Blackmagic Studios. I would encourage everybody to try it. If you try it and you have questions, I'll share my information on how you can contact me.
Look at this man.
I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of that.
So,
yeah.
So
I
you're
love
talking
that.
about DaVinci Resolve today, which is
Yes.
kind of interesting because this morning Apple came out and said, guess what we're doing? We're going to offer Final Cut Pro finally on the iPad. Right,
Wow.
because that was a big. I don't know if you knew that, because that was one of the big reasons for me moving over to DaVinci was because I could be 35,000 foot in the air on my way to visit my kids, and I can have it on my iPad, and I could be editing footage on DaVinci on my iPad. But now Apple today said they're coming out with Final Cut Pro for the iPad. It's going to be a $5 per month subscription, but going to be very intuitive and very capable. Coming out at the end of this month. What are your thoughts about that? You gonna stick with DaVinci? You gonna stick with DaVinci?
Once you go black, Blackmagic. Once you go Blackmagic, you don't go back. Yeah, you don't go back. Because that black is so good. That black is so good.
This man is telling the truth right here. Okay. So we DaVinci Resolve for all your video and editing, things of that nature.
That's my stack number one product right there.
What else you got?
Well, I will tell you something that I think is worthwhile that is not a piece of technology. When people say, well, what's my favorite thing, even above DaVinci Resolve, I have a desk that I love that has all my equipment on it, and it rises. Yeah. It's one rising desk, so you can go up and down. I love it so much. I bought two of them. I put one in my other studio, which is downstairs. And that's a piece of basic information. And some people find that surprising that I love it that much that I would say it's my favorite piece of technology, but it really is, because it keeps you from sitting and or standing, and you could do both. It's very, very important.
Over there getting your movement is what your Apple Watch is. What it is. He's trying to get his stand minutes. No, I've got a standing desk as well. I got mine from IKEA. Love it. Love just the flexibility that it gives. Again, not having to sit here for 6, 7, 8, however many hours just staring at these screens, but actually can be upwards and mobile. So that's actually pretty good. I actually appreciate it.
I appreciate
something
that.
like that.
So that's important. The other piece of software that I use on a regular basis is Adobe After Effects. I've been Adobe After Effects fan since they had the little dongles. I don't know, the young people might not know what a dongle is. It's kind of like a thumb drive from, I guess, today's time.
Make it play, brother. Make it play.
Make it play, man. If you don't have that dongle, there was no cracking the software. You can crack different software if you look for it, and Pirate Bay and all that. But back in the day, you had to have a physical dongle with that product.
Man, that's truth.
Adobe After Effects since I don't want to say a little boy, but I love Adobe After Effects. So that's one of my favorite. My sound and stuff is the Rodecaster Pro. I have the original and I also have the current one. I love this one because you can instantly add music to your flow. I use this on my Toastmasters meetings all the time. So that's kind of a cool little thing to have handy. My microphone that I use is really, I have the RE20 from Electric Voice. That's a good one. But this one I bought a long time ago.
Looks like a Neumann right there, brother.
It is. It's the Neumann.
Hold on, man. Let me take you full screen. He over there with the Neumann.
This Neumann here, man, is a beautiful microphone. And, a lot of people use this one when using recording studio stuff. So that boy's like $1,000, but it's worth every dime of it. And of course, I bought that when I was balling out of control. I'm not balling out of control anymore. I'm definitely more mindful of my. of my
You more
yeah.
frugal, right? You know, as we get a little more
Frugal.
seasoned in the years, we're a little bit more frugal in terms of our purchase.
Oh
But you
yeah.
know, shouts out to the Neumann there. I'm cool with the Michael Jackson mic with the SM7B, but
Yes.
I've
And
got
I saw you had the that Shure, which is such a classic. I think it's an M58.
yeah, the SM50. They sent it to me. Hold please. Yeah, here we go.
I I saw
Sent
that.
it to me
I was like,
yesterday for
mm-hmm.
SM58 days. So yeah, this is iconic
It's
microphone from
classic.
Shure. You go to any
Classic.
studio, any recording room, they got this thing in that studio. So
Yes. 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 So I have that. The camera that I'm using that I'm looking at right now is the as we're sharing our stack secrets, which we said we would do.
we're not gonna
It's
share them
the
all. We're not gonna share them all
A64.
though, you know. But we will
Nah,
share
we ain't gonna
affiliate
share.
links
Okay, good.
at the end so folks can
Oh,
go out and get this gear.
hey,
But we're not gonna share all the
absolutely.
secrets.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, but I do use that in my upstairs office. This is my upstairs office. In my downstairs studio, I put us on GH4. So when people
Okay.
say, man, the quality is so good, you know, those are two cameras. But the camera in these iPhones now, bro, as I'm
Yeah.
sure you know,
Yeah.
oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
listen, cinematic mode and then 4K 60 or 4K 120, whatever the case may be, is an amazing feat of technology. And you know, I'll give some shouts out to the Android folks too. They got some decent gear out there as
Yeah, they
well.
do.
It's just that we're part of that full. I can't even say it with a straight face.
Yeah,
We're just part of that full ecosystem, and being able
absolutely.
to move the workflows are so much easier, more seamless
Amen.
on they're more conscious on the Apple platform. The workflow is just so much
Absolutely.
conscious because I was moving stuff back and forth using AirDrop right before this, putting out some reels and
Mhm,
things of that nature. But yeah, the
mhm,
cameras on these mobile devices are amazing. The video and then the still photo pieces right there. I
yeah,
like for the phones the fact that many of the app developers are now on par. So you know, for a while
mhm,
they were only creating apps on the iPhone on the iOS side and
mhm.
then months later coming out with the Android side. So I'd have to tell my Android peeps, hey, sorry, we
Yeah.
got it, but you don't. So sorry, too bad, so sad, kind of thing.
Well, I will tell you one of the things that Android got to jump on the iPhone version is there's an app that shows the front-facing camera
Yes,
and the camera, so you can see what you're looking at.
yeah,
That was on the Android months and months before it finally made it over to Apple. So
true.
I give
And
that
it's
one.
still not as seamless with the Apple that particular piece right there. I remember I had it was either an LG or a Samsung camera, and being able to
Yeah.
take that both sides at the same time. I use an app called Mix Panel right now to
Oh,
try
okay.
to do that, and it does a decent job. But yeah, it's that actually is much cleaner on the Android side. So your
Yeah.
camera's a Panasonic. Okay, I'm
Mhm.
gonna get you over to Sony before too long. I'm gonna get you over here to
Well,
Sony.
I have a Sony. That this one that I'm talking into right now is the Sony A6400.
Okay,
So
okay,
that's a Sony. Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, I
Long as
like
you got,
the
long as you
Sony
got a
products
Sony
too.
body and some glass in there, then we
Oh
can still
yeah,
roll.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It took me a while to get off that Panasonic, but I still love it. It's my old reliable. But when I put this new studio together, I was like, let me try a different camera, and it's a matter of getting the right lens and the whole setup. Because you know the body is one thing, you got to get the right lens. If you don't get
Come
the
on,
right lens, you don't get that thing in focus. Then it's like what do
what are you
you know
doing? Let's talk
what you
about
doing?
the framing aspect because you're looking mighty crispy now in a good
Thank you,
way,
sir.
right? So you can
Thank you.
talking about the lens and talking about the bokeh that you got. So
Yeah.
I see the practical lights. I mean, I can dissect almost everything that you got back there, but I'm not gonna do that. I can dissect it in a good way, right?
I know.
So
Listen, that's what we do. I
that
dissected your stuff before
uh,
too, bro, because I've seen you and I was like, oh wow, he changed it. He got a different light color back there. That light
yeah,
color was different a couple
it
of weeks
was.
ago.
Yes, it
So
was.
that's what creatives do all the time. Out of respect, nothing bad. And we sometimes we should show our whole works, because
True.
people they want to see that. And I one thing I like about you, man, and I like about some other creatives is that we share what we have because
Yeah.
you know we
No
want
sense
people
in
to
being
look good.
selfish. No sense in being
Yeah, don't be
selfish.
selfish. Yeah, it's like
Right.
if you have a good cake. Because here goes the reality: when people ask me what I use, and I tell them, they're like, Don't tell everything. Don't be shy. I know you said that a minute ago, but I'm not talking about you. But don't tell everything.
Well,
But
because
if
I
you have
charge
the
for some of that. See,
recipes,
because I
yeah, this is true. This is true. If you have the recipes to a great cake
yeah,
and you have it down, and the guy gives you directions to the cake, that don't mean you're gonna make a good cake. You just got the recipes to the cake. You still got to make sure that your oven is right for that recipe, because
mm,
somebody else's oven, it might be broke in a little bit more. So it might cook for 35 minutes, where on yours, it might need to cook for 45 minutes.
yeah,
So
I
we
like
just
that.
giving you, yeah, we're just giving you the items in the recipe. You still got to bake the cake at the
Yeah,
end of the
so
day.
you still got to put in some work, right? I can only
Absolutely.
I can drive you to the store, but you still got to walk in
Right.
and walk the aisles. Come on now, I don't.
Yes, sir.
That's my
Yes, sir.
analogy. That's
You're
my
preaching. Go ahead now.
analogy. So I wanted to keep going about because again, I know a lot of folks that are building studios again from a creation perspective, and I was talking about the field of view and the angle that you got and the bokeh and the practical
Mhm.
lights that you got. So talk about the lighting that you're using within your studio because I know you got your uh your lights in front of you, which are
Yeah.
different than
I
what
have a
you
key.
have in the back from a practical perspective. Talk a little bit about that piece.
Yeah, I have a key light from Elgato. I have a couple of Elgato things. Um, and that one is, my front facing key light. And then I have just a regular box light that brings a little light on this side. And I got that from Amazon. You can just Google box light and you can get those things for like 19, $20. And not anything super expensive. I have other lights as well. I am a fan of the lights that you can change. As an example, if I wanted to change that light back behind me red, I could just say, a computer, turn the desk red, and it'll change that. So I like it fuchsia generally. Computer, turn the desk fuchsia. I don't know how to set desk to that setting. Oh, you don't? I think you do. Computer, turn the desk to fuchsia. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes the technology, I'm not going to do that.
Well, she didn't know what
Mm,
you was
but
talking about. See, you
yeah,
you got the
I'm just,
confident doing. She was like, wait a minute.
yeah, I'm still trying to get over the COVID, my brother.
That's
So,
it. That's it.
but
Now, so which smart speaker are you using? That sound. I don't want to say her name because she might wake up here
oh,
in
you
my
can say
room.
Alexa. It's a
Okay.
Amazon Alexa device. Oh, I probably set
Yeah,
yours off
yeah.
just
Well, that's right. I'm glad I got
my
my
bad.
monitors in. 'Cause I didn't want to wake up her
Yeah,
over
yeah,
here in my room. But okay.
yeah. You know what's crazy, James? Like I have one of those in just about every room in the house, which is too much. And again, I am that guy who does buy many of the shiny things too
Yes.
much. But it's something that the good Lord blessed me to be able to do. Again, I'm a technology person. But these devices, they're nosy. I mean, they're listening to everything.
Okay, come on.
And
Let's
and
go down that path right there too, right? Because again, there's
yeah,
pros and
yeah.
cons, and here's some of the ugly under the carpet type of conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, the ugly part is they're always listening and monitoring. Somebody's listening on the other side. Now they say that they're listening just to make the device more effective and make sure that it's to the right commands. But the thing is listening.
Yes.
My phone is listening. I was at the store the other day getting some food, and the guy from AT&T walked up to me like trying to do the else thing. What do you guys? What are you having for dinner? He didn't care what I wanted for dinner. He just wanted small talk so he could do the pitch.
Yeah.
But my daughter said we're having turkey tenderloin. It was my day to cook that day, and I said, well, we got to figure out a sign. And I talked about mashed potatoes, and this guy started talking about how he likes to make the mashed potatoes, mash them and make
Mhm.
them with the milk and the butter. And I'm like, nah, I'm good with just some water and some, instant potatoes. I'm good with
I
that,
ain't got time. I
bro.
ain't got time for all that.
I ain't mashing nothing up, bro.
Yeah.
I got home and on my Alexa device was a recipe for mashed potatoes.
Come on.
And I was like, this is too much.
That's scary,
This
isn't
is
it?
too much. Yeah, it's very scary. So that's part of the AI revolution that's taking place that concerns me. Like when I asked it to do something and it said it wasn't going to do it or I don't understand. Well, sometimes that happens in other devices in my house, and I might say something, off cuff, and the thing
And next
just
thing you know, your browser history's got some things on it that well, I'm not gonna put you
yeah,
out there in these
yeah,
streets, but
yeah.
that is what
Yeah,
it.
I
And so
appreciate
so
that.
so there's a good teachable moment right there for folks, right? You have to consciously opt out of a lot of
Yes.
the creature comforts that the technology brings, because by default, a lot of this stuff is turned on to be fully functional, capable, ease of use, things of that nature. And if you actually don't want your smart speakers to be listening all the time, you actually have to manually go into the app, turn off that functionality. You have to tell Siri, you have to tell Alexa, you got to tell Google to not listen for this word, maybe listen for another word, and don't always be awake. You have to be awake when you actually manually intervene. So those types of manual interventions are conscious, that have to be done after the purchase, because by default, again, they're on. So you got to opt
Yeah.
out.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
That's
it's
it, man.
crazy. You definitely want to do that. You definitely
So
want to opt out of some things.
so let me ask this. We started talking about. I want to continue to go down some of the tech stack stuff, because it's weaving
Okay.
into some of these other conversations, and I got the question that I want to end with is pretty cool, and I want to see where it goes, because everything we're talking about right now is kind of leading up to that.
Okay.
We talked about video creation, and I know you have a killer podcast out there as well, and the platform that you're using for your podcast is amazing, right?
Thanks.
I tell
It's
folks to use it as well. So, but let's talk a bit about that, because you're not just doing video, you're also pushing out audio content as well. So talk a little bit about how you're doing that and where your audio podcast is going.
Yes. Well, I have to give Doc Rock a shout out from Ecamm Live,
Mm-hmm.
the Ecamm fam. He was talking about this piece of software or this platform called Captivate. And when I heard about it, I was like, wow, this sounds pretty cool. And all the different things that it was talking about that it could do. And the service that I was using wasn't doing half of that kind of stuff. And so I watched his piece on it. And then I went to the Captivate website. And then, of course, as I always do, I go to YouTube and pull up whatever company it is that I'm thinking about doing something with. And I watch 25, 30 videos in a row to make sure, because the previous service that I had been using, I had been with them for over 2 years and didn't have a reason to switch because it satisfied my needs. But Captivate actually did so much more from a show prep standpoint, uh, ease of use to distributing it to all the different channels. I mean, most of those, even Anchor will distribute it to a lot of different channels. But this just offers so much for the Hurricane Dave podcast. I thought, well, let me try it and see what it feels like. So I took it for a test drive, and I was like, you know what, this is good. And it was like $15 less than the company that I was paying for. So I'm definitely a big fan of Captivate,
Yeah.
and definitely a big fan of watching some of these different folks like on Ecamm, the Ecamm fam. They talk about different technology, and I listen and learn. And so again, I got to shout out Doc Rock on that, because I had
Yeah,
never even heard of that company before.
here it is. I'll let him know that you gave him some props. I'll talk to him tonight. That's good stuff. But yeah, and it's an interesting thing too, because you get what you pay for a lot of times, and a lot of times folks in the creative space will buy just what they need for today, as opposed to
Yes.
where they're going, where their trajectory is. Right? We're not stagnant. We're not being complacent. We have a goal that we're reaching for. We're always trying to serve our communities and make sure we're growing. And
Correct.
just putting out an audio podcast, just putting out a video infocast, just doing micro content, those things are good for right now. But where are you trying to go? And buy what you can. Don't overdo yourself, but buy what you can
Right.
afford to get to where you need to be, not necessarily where you are.
Amen.
Is really where I'm thinking about. And Captivate, the price point for Captivate too. They need to raise their price. Listen, okay. I saw the
Don't say
Captivate.
that.
No, I already told him. I saw the Captivate
Okay.
team
Okay.
last year at Podcast Movement in Dallas, Texas, and I said, listen, I'm not gonna mention anybody else's name, any other competitors, but I said, y'all need to raise your price, because what you're offering and what they were talking about bringing, what they were announcing at Podcast Movement, I said, man, listen, y'all need to go ahead, and we will pay for quality. People pay attention to what they pay for.
Absolutely.
Come on now.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
something as good
a
as that.
lot of
Yeah.
coaches say that. Coaches say if people pay, then they'll pay attention.
Right.
If they get it for free, then it's like it's no big deal.
No.
When you charge like a high ticket item, which one day I'm going to start charging, I'm going. I said that I'm going.
Yeah.
My Toastmasters people would have my neck right now. But I'm going to charge for a high price ticket because again, I love the fact that when you pay attention. Absolutely.
Got to. I
Absolutely.
mean, if you're putting in
Hey,
your
one of
heart,
the things that oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. I'm sorry, James. Go ahead. No, I was just going to piggyback on what you were saying. You don't have to have the most fancy thing.
Yeah.
You know, start with what you have because a lot of this stuff, it's overblown. But it's a convenience. It's good stuff that we love. It's good high quality stuff. But nowadays, in today's society, people pick up their telephone and they just talk into it. They do their little thing like this, and it gets more views than somebody who done spent several
And man,
thousand
ain't that the
dollars.
truth? Hold on, man.
Yes,
Okay, some of
yes.
the reels and some of the YouTube shorts that I just made on the fly, sitting in the backyard, have gotten more engagement and views than something that I put through a whole bunch of other applications and try to clean up and add filters and sound. That's true, man. Get out of your own way, folks.
Yeah,
Get out of your own way.
yeah, yeah. Just do it. Just do it.
I love it. I love
Absolutely.
it. Let me see something. I see some of my old financial community chiming in. I see you, Justin, man. Listen, I'll probably get back into them discussions one of these days. I build a pretty decent community, especially on Twitter, with a lot of folks that were heavy into the financial investing world. So whenever I see some of those folks chime in, I give them a little recognition. So
No, that's
um,
love. I saw you giving love to some people on. I think you used to work with. I don't know if it was people that you worked with at Apple. Was it Apple
yes,
you were at?
yeah.
Yeah. So I saw one of your shows because again, I watch your shows, and those guys was excited to be on your show as well because they knew you were about that business technology. And
Yeah. Also, Manilium. Yeah. So shouts out to them too.
Mhm.
Shouts out to Bruce and Vince. That's right up our world as well, because that's VR, right? They're using VR for
Absolutely.
business, and that is such.
Yeah.
Don't sleep on. Look, me and Mark Zuckerberg don't get along. I will never get an endorsement from Facebook/Meta, whatever. I've said so much bad about them. I have, but
And you're right. And you're right.
because and we can go down this rabbit hole if you want. I don't like the fact that you don't own the data that they can sell and all of that, but don't sleep on what Zuckerberg has built and is continuing to build, because every person darn near on this planet is on that platform.
Mhm.
And what they're building and what they're trying to build with the metaverse and with virtual reality, augmented reality, all of that, we being technologists is pretty early, right? We're seeing a lot of the failures. We're seeing a lot of the stumbles and things like that. But talk to me. Let's talk about this right there, because that kind of brings it back into tech stacks and where we are with AI and things like that. What are your thoughts on metaverse, virtual reality, and where Zuckerberg is taking that whole industry?
Well,
Come
this
on,
is a
I
tough
got you
one right
scratching
here.
your head now.
Yeah, because this is breaking news. And I
Oh
used
my
it on my
goodness.
teas. I
Hold
used it
up.
on my teas, and the teas was, "Is the metaverse dead? Well, that's like those things that they do on the news. I like that little swipe action that just happened right there. Breaking news: the metaverse is dead. Um, I love the metaverse. I'm a metaverse fan. Matter of fact, people, if you go to hurricanedayvr.com, you can sign up to follow me, and I'll follow you back inside the metaverse. That's how much I love it. So that's a little plug there, a little cheap plug. But the thing that frightens me right now, James, is AI has stolen the spotlight from the metaverse. And the metaverse is something. Oh, look at that! I love, man, you're so good. See, this is what happens when you got Ecamm fam talking to Ecamm fam. Yeah, that's what happens. Some of these other platforms. Anyway, let me go back. The VR world is going through a flux right now, and I don't know how long. Uh, I don't want to say that it's going to go away. I will tell you that it's being challenged right now, and that all the fluff that Mr. Zuckerberg he displayed. I mean, he changed his company to Meta. He named it Meta and invested millions and millions of dollars into the platform, but it has not shown a real good return, to be totally honest. And some of the companies, matter of fact, this is so funny. We know what Metamucil is, right? Metamucil actually changed its name temporarily because this whole Meta thing was so big to Meta. dash Musil.
I didn't even know that.
And that was,
You breaking
yeah,
news right now, boy.
bro, they did that. So,
I
and
can't.
everybody was
I
jumping on
can't.
the bandwagon. Now, the problem is a lot of these companies, including Zuckerberg, this is an article that came out. Yeah, this is real breaking news for real. And I said it again today as well. These companies are now starting to pull back off of the metaverse and focus on AI. And the company that is doing it is just like everybody else is Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook has let some of the people that were developing stuff on the metaverse, they've let them go to the wayside. Uh, Example, my favorite platform of the metaverse was Altspace VL. To me, that was almost like FUBU for the metaverse because there was a
Yeah.
lot of us on there, a lot of creators on there. And Microsoft sunset that back in March, on March 10th, I believe it was. It just said we're not doing that anymore. Walgreens, man, I should have made note of that because I was reading it like, oh my God, Walt Disney, some of these other companies that were going to do major pushes inside the metaverse have disbanded their metaverse vision over the last couple of weeks. So I don't want to say it's like the writing is on the wall because I don't want to be the grim reaper of something that I absolutely love, but I also don't want to be on and people watch it on the replay and be like, wow, he seemed like he knows what he's talking about. But he didn't say nothing about the metaverse being in danger. The
Yeah.
metaverse is in danger, brother. You know,
Wow.
it's in danger. And I'm really sad to say that because I had so much fun in the metaverse. I love the fact that I could go out and hang out with friends in the metaverse in my house and didn't have to come home and
Didn't
worry
have to
about
go. Didn't have to leave your chair.
didn't have
And
to leave the
listen,
crib.
I
Didn't
see
have,
you bought the pro version of the headset too. So you
yeah,
fully vested
yeah, yeah.
in there.
I love the metaverse. Actually, I had some stuff. You know, the thing that really turned me on to the metaverse was going to church in the metaverse. And I have
Mm.
let me see if this thing plays a little bit. I don't know if I play, but I was church hunting in the metaverse, trying to find a new place. And you know, this is one of the churches that I visited. It looks like medieval times. I've been there, but I'm definitely a big person who loves the metaverse. Matter of fact, let me show you what Iced Out Thursdays used to look like, and I'll play some sound on this. But this was the Thursday place to hang out. And what's up? It's Hurricane Dave. Listen, I know you just like I. Oh, not that. This one right here.
We set the trends.
What's going on, people?
Dave in the building, boy.
Everybody good?
Baby, let me see that
Charlie,
picture change. I love that crop.
It's just me and my gang. Won't do friends.
Hey, what's up, sis? Boom, bangers.
I've been trying to get the money. I've been trying to feed my fan because they don't want to see me win. No, I was thinking about the roller, but I went and cut the riches and I went up for my mama and the Benz. I get it in the pit suite and 220.
So that was like one of the most exciting times I had.
I'm back. I'm back here. Hold on. Why you stop? Why you stop? Okay, no, that's
You know, yeah. So the metaverse, you know, I'm a huge fan of the platform. That particular platform was Altspace VR. They shut that down on March 10th. So now that crew, people that were hanging out, we're hanging out now in spatial IO inside the and also inside VR chat. So, you know, there's still definitely some happenings. There are people that are in there. Shout out to my man Rich and Boo Banger, all my family that are avatars inside the metaverse. But listen, we got to be ready because, I mean, again, when these companies stop investing in something, and Mark is pulling back now, and now he's got his team that was working on metaverse stuff now working on AI.
Mm-hmm.
That concerns a brother.
I think it's coming. I think it's coming back, and really interesting. And shouts out to my man JP High Tech. He was one of the first people that I saw actually use VR with Ecamm during a live stream. So he and his guests actually had their headsets on, and they were in the metaverse conducting a one-on-one interview. So groundbreaking. I think it was about a year and a half ago or so, but I still see promise for it. I think it's coming, and once it turns whatever that corner is, right? When folks really find that business value, right, as opposed to it just being a great outlet during COVID, right? When the world stopped, it was great that again you could go to church, sitting in your living room. You could be in the sanctuary. You could have the fellowship and those kind of things. But once I think there's more of an outlet and more of a business use case for it, then I think it'll come back. And probably look, Zuck is a smart dude. Once he
Yeah.
intertwines the VR with the AI and gets that going, I think there will be a resurgence. Look, my headset's over there charging right now. I look at it right now. We can put it on. I know you got it back there. See, but you got the Pro too. So man, I ain't mad at you. Well, I am
Well,
mad
you know,
at you.
the crazy part about the metaverse is still it has a long way to go. There's an article that came out again yesterday, part of Tech Survey 2023, and 32% of people still don't know what the metaverse is. 29% of people say that it's mostly hype, and 26% say they just don't understand what it's about. So the penetration into the general population is still very, very light. So, like you said, it could definitely turn the curve. But all the hype and all of that, you know, this technology thing and trends, you know, everybody jump on something new. They didn't forget about what was old. And AI is what everybody's talking about right now. Everybody's talking about AI, and that
Perfect.
took a lot of that spotlight off of
Yeah.
the.
So that's perfect, right? Because that what you just said puts a nice bow on this last topic that I wanted to ask you about. And
Mhm.
appreciate everyone. I'm looking at. I see. I'm gonna stop streaming on Twitter. And I say that with all due respect, because I see a gang of folks over there, but again, they can't engage and they can't interact with the conversation. So this may be one of the last times I might just put the link out there instead of streaming out there as well. Uh, can AI and creativity coexist? Can AI and
Yeah,
creativity coexist and be
man, that's a
more
good
of a
question.
pro than a con? As you know, we started this conversation with we've got the fake Drake song, we've got folks using ChatGPT to write their bios, to write papers in school. We've got all these different things coming in. Yeah, they're increasing efficiencies from a workflow perspective, but can AI and creativity coexist? Because we're creatives
I
at
think
heart.
it can. Yeah, I think it's doing that right now. You know, I think it's currently doing that. Shout out to my man Iggy Pop Malcolm. I see you, brother. I appreciate you checking in. I think that it's doing that right now. I do believe, like many, and not to be again the Grim Reaper, that this AI thing, it's going to be dangerous down the
Yeah.
road because I'm hoping that I'm not around, you know, but my kids and my kids' kids, when AI says, okay, we've been letting y'all do it. I'm machine learning. I'm learning how things work. We're gonna have a real problem down the road. Right now, it's fun and candy being passed around,
Yeah.
and most older folks are worried about it. These young people, they just say, "Man, let's enjoy the technology." But I believe, what's his name? Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak.
Yeah, Steve Wozniak.
Wozniak, yeah,
Yeah.
he came out against it. The guy
Yeah.
who
He
created
want he
AI,
wants a little more oversight. Yeah, I mean Wozniak
yeah,
has
once
always been kind of like that. Yeah, he wants more oversight with
Mhm.
this technology.
Elon Musk. Elon Musk.
Imagine that.
I think he is AI.
Yeah.
He's an AI person in real life. He's not human.
He's not
He's
real. Yeah, that's true.
he ain't real.
He
Yeah, to be
chock
that
full of
smart,
crazy. Yeah, he is.
absolutely.
Shouts out
And
to him
he
though. You
even
know,
said,
I got his
"Yeah, I
cars
love
in the
him."
garage. I'm so
Oh, all
don't.
right, go ahead,
Well,
Tesla man.
listen, come on now. I don't buy
All right,
gas
I'm
no
not mad
more.
at you.
Yeah,
Wow, that's
we fully
beautiful. That's
charged over
beautiful.
here. Okay, I'm
Hello,
sorry, squirrel.
hello.
I'm sorry.
Hey, everybody ain't able. Everybody
Yes,
ain't able.
pray for him
but
though.
but soon they will. Soon they will be. And he's so smart. One of the things that I love about Elon Musk is he created that technology, and some say he was not being selfish when he let other people that took the patent to
Yeah.
make other cars. And oh, that was so kind. No, that wasn't kind. That's called good business.
Mm-hmm.
He's licensing that technology and getting richer and richer. Plus, he keeps people off his back from, holding the monopoly. So that man is super smart, super smart. But to get back to your question, James, I think that AI and creativity is currently working together right now because again, there's a lot of creative people in the space, and there are going to be more people coming into the space that are creatives. And we haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg of what's going to be happening with AI. I mean, 2 or 3 years down the road, the most amazing stuff that's going to be happening with this technology, because we're all blown away by it and
Mhm.
brand new to a lot of people's chat GPT. It's going to continue to be more amazing. And I think we need more creatives involved and keeping the other people out, the crazos, because the crazies, they're learning how to do bad things with
Yeah.
AI. And so, you know, but it's here. It's here to
Yeah.
stay.
I
You
mean,
know, and I'm gonna love it. I'm gonna enjoy it.
I think that's a good lesson right there to learn. Right, be cognizant, be aware. Don't be complacent. Embrace the technology, but learn the technology as well. Because you're right. It's not. I also agree. It's not going anywhere. So we have to find a way. We as a society, as a culture, we have to find a way to live, learn, and leverage technology, because
Yeah,
there really are more pros than cons. Yeah, we see the cons a lot all the time because they're on the news and they're flashy, and it's always hyper more exposed. But there are a lot of benefits out of, again, increased workflow, functionality, capability, and just the ease of use, and just the exchange of knowledge and the exchange of information. And if we can be at the
yeah,
forefront of that because we're creatives and we're entrepreneurs and things of that, we can be kind of be that catalyst to have folks understand the best way to use these types of technologies, things of that nature. Embracing it, but watch its handling of it too. I like that, Shirley. Appreciate that. Embrace it, but watch its handling as well. So that's a good point right there.
absolutely, absolutely.
Um,
And one of the cool things that I use it for is I'm not a salesperson, even
mm,
though I kind of like being on the microphone, and I don't necessarily say that I like being in front of the camera, but obviously I do a lot of videos. But I'm not a salesperson, and so now I can take a piece of copy about one of the companies that I may have, write that script with Chat GPT, then plug that into one of those AI generated voices and avatars. And I have a couple of one example. I'll just play real quick. I only play like 10 seconds of it, but it talks about Branditlive as a company because, well, what is Branditlive? This is Branditlive. If I'm not going to be the face,
man, put that
this
on the
could be,
screen, man.
you
Man,
put
let's
that.
see what that is. You
Welcome to
bring us home
Branded
like that.
Live, a black-owned technology company based in Atlanta, Georgia. We specialize in cutting-edge marketing solutions targeted at the music and entertainment industry. One of our signature products is called social media harvesting. Using the latest AI with the latest chatbot technology, we will harvest your followers at scale from the social media platforms onto a platform that you own. This way you can market to your followers 24/7 without paying an additional dime to the
All
platform.
right, so yeah, I won't let the whole thing play because I don't want to be utilizing your platform to do commercials for me. But here's one other one for Toastmasters. I typed the information in and I plugged it into an AI generated voice, and this is what that sounds like.
Dear fellow club managers, are you tired of juggling countless tasks to keep your club running smoothly? Have you ever wished for a comprehensive, all-in-one solution to manage your club memberships? Look no further than Toast ZMMS, the complete club membership management system in a box.
Yeah, so all of that information, those are really cool things that could be done with AI. And if you're trying to sell a product and you don't want to be the face of the product, you can just type that information there. You can pick white female, you can pick a person from India, wherever. So some of those things are really, really cool. Those are things that I enjoy playing
You
with,
out there doing
even
it,
though I
man.
haven't really, I'm out here having fun, man. The technology is there. Let's enjoy it. Can we
Yeah,
enjoy it?
I love
Yeah.
that. And you knowing 10% more than the next person, that makes you kind of an
You're an
expert. I
expert.
mean, that makes you a subject matter expert, kind of a go-to trusted advisor. So I love the fact, and I get excited by hearing folks that are excited by technology. Right. So I
Yes. Yes.
love that piece. I really see what you're doing here, and I applaud it because, again, you're out here moving the needle in the right direction. And one of the statements from my old boss when I worked at Apple, the guy said, we out here just trying to put a dent in the universe.
Amen.
And
Love it.
like, the young
Love
cats don't
that.
know who said that. That was Steve Jobs himself, right? So we just
Right.
out here trying to
Right.
put a dent in the universe. If we can do that, if we can leave that mark, then we've done good,
Amen.
son. Um,
Amen.
They tell folks where they can find you, man, because you're involved in so much. We didn't even get into your congratulations on your NLP certification, which you just got.
Thank you. Thank
Some of those things,
you.
but tell folks where they can find you if they have some more questions.
Yeah, you can find me at if you go to hurricanedave.com. Uh, that's like my official website, hurricanedave.com. There's a contact button up there. Click and it'll get your contact information. It's a form and it gets sent to me. You're on the metaverse and you just want to do the metaverse thing, you can go to hurricanevr.com and tell me where you like to hang out in the metaverse, and I'll come and meet you someplace. You know, and again, I'm meeting for business purposes. I'm not meeting for social purposes. Like I'm trying to hook up. I'm in there trying to do business deals and networking deals and seeing how we work together. And then the last thing that is self-service, James, is I'm the guy who likes to buy shiny stuff all the time. And sometimes, like I fly drones, I have 8 or 9 drones. There's no reason why I should have 8 or 9 drones. And my wife said, you can't buy the newest model of the drone until you start selling some of these other drones.
Oh
You know, I
Lord.
have 3 or 4 consoles for mixing boards, all kind of technology. I have I bought a professional Akai drum machine that people make beats on and make millions of dollars. Man, I think I paid a couple $1,000s for that thing. I got it for my son, thinking that he would to make beats because he said, Dad, I think I want to make beats. Well,
Yeah.
let me buy this for you, son.
You want to be
And
the next Henny to business out there.
yes. So the crazy part is, I think he played with that thing 4 days.
Yeah.
And so I have a site that people can go to right now called Hurricane Dave Stuff, hurricanedavestuff.com, and put your information in there because I'm going to have a spring cleaning like you've never heard.
Lord have mercy. Look at
Hurricanedavestuff.com.
this.
Yeah, look, you already pulled it up. Go ahead and put it on the screen, bro. Go ahead and put it
This is not.
on the screen.
This is scary right here because I may end up buying some hurricane.
Yeah,
Welcome to Hurricane Dave stuff. Take
yeah,
all of it too. You take Cash App, take Stripe, PayPal. Lord have
that's right.
mercy.
Oh yeah,
You gonna
yeah.
get that
So
money.
I'm gonna get that money, and the cool part is I'm gonna be doing it at greatly discounted prices.
Hmm.
So when I post the price, that's the price. Don't call me and be like, hey man, can you knock $100 off? No, I already knocked a couple $100s off. If you don't want it, this is not for negotiation. Just move on, keep it moving, bro. Keep it moving. You know, so but
Mhm.
yeah, you can go there, hurricanedavestuff.com and get on an email list. And when this goes live, I will text you and email you. So it'll be first come, first serve. Now that's the only real commercial that I'm gonna do, Jim. So
That's
I
our
appreciate you,
listen.
my brother.
Hey,
Appreciate you
listen,
so
man,
much.
and I'm gonna consolidate all these links into the description on all the
Awesome.
platforms.
My
I'm
brother.
gonna be one of the
Yes.
first ones on that mailing list to check out some of your stuff. I don't need nothing else from DJI, but you know, if you
No,
got one of them Mavic Pro, uh,
I got several. I got
he
several.
said he got
Do you have a
several of
drone
them.
right now?
I sold them.
Do you have a drone?
I got mad at the establishment when they said we had to have a
Okay.
Part 107,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Because
Well, yeah. You got to have that if you're selling the content.
yes, well, and that's where I
Now,
wanted to go. So
if you want to, you could still go ahead on and nah. Let me stop before I
ooh, you know
have
we
somebody
live.
knock it
You know we live. No,
out.
don't do it. We live on LinkedIn too, right?
Well,
So
yeah.
business folks are listening.
Yeah, I know. Well, I have heard that some people in the past, not me, they might go and get some content for somebody as a friend, and then they'll just give them the content, but they might have to charge them for gas and transportation.
Hmm. There's always a way. I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm not even gonna we gonna glide over that. We gonna
Yeah,
pretend we
I'm
didn't
not
even
even gonna
see
mess with
that.
that either. I pay my taxes and I do right by the government because we gotta do that right. So
That's true.
I just heard a friend did that, not me.
Wasn't
Mm-mm.
me. I got it like
So,
Eddie Murphy say, wasn't me.
wasn't
Uh
me. Like my man
Hurricane
Shaq said, it
Dave
wasn't me. Mhm.
Smith in the
Yes,
building.
sir. Thank you,
Uh
bro.
we didn't even touch the surface. And not even talking about
No,
scratching the surface. We didn't even touch the surface in terms of the wealth of knowledge that you have, the information that
thank you.
the things that you're involved in. And I'm
Yes.
gonna be selfish. I'm gonna ask if you will come back so we can continue these
Yes.
conversations, maybe on a regular basis, just to dive in because your perspective on some of these aspects again and your history, I think lend well to the community so we can have that conversation about Should we be using the bits of technology? Should we be doing this and that? Platforms, apps, things of that nature. So I would love to have you come back, maybe on the digital collective here and talk about the technology side, or even on like a perspectives and focus where we go more into business conversation, setting up an
Absolutely.
LLC, setting up
Yes.
banking account, right? Some of the things that creators, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, business folks really are interested in. So I'm gonna task you with that one right there if you don't mind, young man.
Bro, I would come back anytime. The one thing that I tell you that I absolutely love about watching your shows, which is why I felt comfortable coming on. We didn't practice anything. We didn't get no script. We didn't do no
Yeah,
run of show. We
yeah.
didn't do all that stuff that a lot of people do. Because when I watch what you do, there are no hiccups. The stuff works. And your flow is so good. And that's not to slam anybody else, because it's a learning curve, and your learning curve is so high, and your quality and what I expect when I turn into one of your shows. I was like, absolutely. I wasn't even worried. When we were waiting to 10 minutes to go on before, I've been on shows before where I had to get on 15, 20 minutes before and still had problems. So you're said, yeah, just pop on 10 minutes before. I wasn't worried because we both Ecamm Live brothers, and we both love technology, and we're both Mac guys. So I'll come back anytime, brother. I thank you so much for allowing me to be on your platform. I really appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you, man. I got nothing else to say. Community, if y'all found some value in this, let me know. If you didn't find value, still let me know. Right? But we out here just trying to enlighten, entertain, and educate. And this man right here, Hurricane Dave Smith, is the truth. Shouts out to y'all. See y'all next time. We out.